Hi everyone, welcome to this talk by Spirit Guides. Let's just start with a prayer and the guides will come through. Great Spirit, we ask for your protection as we join with the world of Spirit. We ask that you would open our minds and our hearts and our lives to the information that comes through here so that we can grow and learn. And we ask that you will bless what we are doing here. Amen. So, we greet you, beloved friends. We say to you that as we draw towards you at this time, we bring with us all of your spirit guides. They bind with you in the energy of love and they bring to you protection. So as we speak to you at this time, we would want to speak about what most of you are noticing is happening in your world, that many seem to be making the transition to the world of spirit, that somehow there seem to be more and more that are making that transition. And we wish perhaps to answer just a few of the questions that you may have concerning these transitions. Yes, there are a greater number of transitions taking place. And in your world, at several times throughout your history, at many times throughout your history, there have been opportunities for groups to actually make the transition, not as a group, as individuals, of course, but to make that transition to the spirit world where masses of them actually let go of the physical form and step through the portal into this beautiful, wonderful, and natural state of spirit in the spirit world. And we would say to you, one of those circumstances of what you perhaps would want to call mass transition is taking place at this time. If you look through your history, you will see that during wartime, this has also been a time where there are mass transitions, where many make the transition, and it is such that they are moving over as what appears to be a massive group. And we would say to you that it is quite correct that this happens. We want to remind you, when it comes to the transition that you call death, it is not an ending. So many of you think it is an end. It is an ending only of the physical, but it is a new beginning. And it is going to a state that is much more natural, a state that is entirely spiritual. And as we say again and again to you, when you are in a state of deep meditation, when you are in an almost trance-like state, you revert to what is mainly your spirit self. You reduce what we would call the bond to the physical and the emotional, and you expand what is your true physical self. And that not physical, spiritual self. And that spiritual self goes on to infinity. That is the state of the spirit. There is no ending of spirit. There is only expansion of the spirit energy. And we would say to you, the date of the transition and the time of the transition, that each one actually undergoes when leaving your earthly plane is decided before you are incarnated into the earthly world. And you as spirit are very much a part of that decision. You as spirit, along with these who will help you on your earthly journey, these who are your spirit guides, and those who work with you as helpers, those who work with you as perhaps what you would call the technologists from spirit, all of these are very much part and parcel to what is your decision, your agreement before you incarnate. You incarnate from the spirit world into this physical world, having decided what lessons you will learn. That doesn't mean that you will return to spirit, having absorbed all those lessons and allowing your spirit self to expand with all the learning whilst you are in the physical form. The true learning of the physical and earthly life takes place only once you have reverted back to spirit form, and there your spirit self will absorb all of the knowledge using your memories and using the emotions, which are extremely limited, but they are the emotions through which you feel and experience whilst in the earthly plane. And we would say to you, it is important that you understand that the learning is not completed whilst you are in the physical form, because your physical form and your emotional form, whilst in the earthly plane, is so limited and limiting. True learning can only take place once you have reverted to spirit world. So part of the decision which you make before you incarnate is also when you will choose to leave this physical form behind and revert once more to what is your most natural state of spirit, your energy that is spiritual, not limited by the physical, not limited by the emotional, where you have unlimited energy, where you go on to infinity with no time that is pressuring you, creating anxiety. You are in spirit form, in your most natural state. So we would say to you that many may ask, well, can we change the time of our transition? And we would say to you, no, it cannot be changed. In your earthly life, many would say, well, they have been given another chance. Well, no, not truly so. Because when you do not return to spirit world and you remain in the physical form, then that is because your true and absolute transition date has not arrived. And we would say to you, as much as you may fear the transition of death, there is no need to be fearful of it. There is never any need to be fearful of it, because you are being helped through that portal and that doorway by several from the spirit world. There is a transition guide who is a specialist at making the transition, helping you to change and shift your energy from within the physical to the spiritual. And there is also a handful of individuals who come from spirit world, who have loved you, who you have known in physical form, who will help you to make that transition, drawing you over because of your love for them and their love for you, knowing how they can encourage you because you have, in effect, missed them in the physical form. Because in your earthly incarnation, you are feeling that your reality is the physical form. You are feeling that the physical is your greatest portion of life. But we would say your greatest portion of life is lived in the spirit world, not in the physical form. The physical form is just one aspect of learning. Consider it perhaps one semester of your training as spirit. And that semester is over in the blink of an eye. whether you live 100 years or whether you live 10 or only perhaps 1 or 2 days in your physical form. It is the semester, as it were, that your spirit self needs in order to learn the lessons it requires and to expand as spirit. And you may say, well, it doesn't make sense. What of young children who move to spirit world? How much can they have learned? And we would say to you, exactly enough. None will leave the earthly plane before their time. None will remain in the earthly plane after their time in the physical form. The timing is decided and perfect. So when many make the transition to spirit world, you should learn to actually celebrate that. When we in spirit world have someone return to spirit world, we celebrate. And there is what you would call a party in your world. You would call it a party, but that takes place in spirit world for about 3 weeks of your time, because that is the time when interaction takes place between all of those who are loved in spirit world. And it is very much a wonderful, warm-hearted, comforting and loving experience. There is great excitement and there is tremendous celebration that someone who has been in the difficult circumstances of the earthly plane reverts to their natural form of spirit. So we would say to you, stop saying they left before their time. No one reverts to spirit world and makes that transition before the time is perfect. We leave you with much to think about, and we leave you with our great and unconditional love.